I never felt invincible because I've always understood that you can never be bigger than the judicial system of a country. The Matrix will not allow anybody to do that. And no matter what country, you could take the most backwards country. Let's invent a country. Backwards land, which is a complete shithole. But as soon as you're bigger than the judicial system, you're a national security threat. So nobody can be bigger than judicial systems. So I understood that. But I understood I'd done nothing wrong. I didn't think I'd really I knew I'd attracted attention, but I'd been quite big for a while at this point. So I knew that I'd probably been investigated head to toe. I've been investigated head to toe a bunch of times. I'm sure I have. And I knew I don't do anything wrong. There's nothing to find. But it is uncomfortable. It is an uncomfortable position. But when I went to jail, I wasn't shocked. Not because I'd done things wrong, but because I knew this was, I kept saying it. I kept saying stage 2. Stage 1 is they try and cancel me, shut me up, and that has failed. Stage 2 is they're going to trap me, put me in jail without charge. And when I was sitting in jail, I was like, I knew it. I just knew it. And you can beat yourself up and say, what could I have done different? How could I have avoided this happening? What should I have done? Hindsight's 20/20, right? But I actually think if I analyze my life, even with hindsight, 95% of the time I've made the best move on the board. I've been pretty good that way without being able to tell the future. And even now, as it stands, now that I'm out of jail, am I happy I went to jail? I think I learned a lot in jail. I think I learned a lot. So yeah, I'm not afraid. I'm not a person who's afraid of his emotions. I'm not going to lie to you. I've said it even on Twitter. I have nightmares and I struggle to sleep now. I never had that in my life. I'm not afraid of that. I just sit on my phone. I watch TV. I train. I do something, right? I'm not afraid of that, but I do feel like I learned a lot in jail about me and about other people, about how I should structure my life, about things I should do. I think I learned a lot, and perhaps this is part of my newfound religious conviction, but if God is the best of planners, perhaps he put me in there to learn something. I learned some very interesting things in jail, personal things, which I can't even say on a podcast, but it's all happened now, and I don't see the point in looking at it in a negative way. Could I have prevented it happening by being less fantastic? Well, perhaps. But Nelson Mandela went to jail, and Muhammad Ali went to jail, and Malcolm X went to jail, and MLK went to jail. And when you tell the truth about the world, you're going to do a bit of jail. It's kind of just part of it, I guess. Like I'm trying to make it lighthearted because I don't want to sit and say they put me in a dungeon and left me to rot for no fuck. I've always been a believer in the struggles men have in their minds, and I've always spoke about it, and I've suffered with them myself. And this is one of the things when I say like depression isn't real, people say, oh, you don't understand. Let me counter that argument by saying I understand very well. Me convincing myself and me deciding that depression isn't real is how I prevent myself from ever feeling depressed. And I've only constructed that mental model because I've been in situations in my life where I felt depressed. I'm not saying depression isn't real because I've never felt depressed. I'm saying depression isn't real because I've been very depressed. That people don't understand where my mindset comes from. I understand struggle and mental health and all these things. And yeah, jail was another chance to certainly touch on them, because in jail, in real life, when you have my kind of resource, you can distract yourself very easily. If you're sitting around and feel a bit mopey, if I'm sitting here and I'm a bit like, I can literally make a phone call and in 45 minutes be in the air on my way to anywhere on the planet with whoever I want to do anything I want. So you can distract yourself. I'm not saying it fixes all mental health, but it distracts you. Whereas in jail, you are stuck alone with your thoughts. And it was certainly a test of my mental resolve. And I would say that I passed. I did well. There was never a day where I broke down. There was never a day where I couldn't handle it. There was never a day where I was, I wasn't polite to the staff. I was very nice to everybody. There was never a day I couldn't hack it. It was certainly a test. And also, Tristan said this. I don't want to take his words, but he's true. You go through life telling everyone you're the baddest motherfucker there is. Sooner or later, someone's going to test you. You walk in the pub and you say, I'm the hardest man there is. Sooner or later, someone's going to fight you. Sooner or later. And life's like that. You want to be the top G and you want to go through life and say, I'm the top G. Then God's going to say, well, we're going to see if you deserve to call yourself the top G or not. We're going to put you in a Romanian jail cell and we're going to leave you there to rot. You're not going to know how long you're in there for. And the biggest mindfuck is I thought I was going to be in there for years. I know. Yeah, the worst thing about prison. The worst thing about prison, I think, for everybody else, because there was a lot of men in there who were crying, a lot of men who were having mental breakdowns, I think it is the problem I didn't have, which is knowing that if you're a normal man, you go to jail, and they just pick you up and you go to jail. Who pays the rent? Who's feeding your kids? Who's your wife sleeping with? Life gets hard for all the external things you could no longer control, things that were your responsibility. I was lucky I didn't have those problems. And when I spoke to people, most people's issues were things that were happening on the outside. And I felt really good knowing that my life is set up in a way where even if I'm plucked from it, it operates. And I set that up because I thought they were going to kill me. Even to this day, if they shoot me right now, everyone around me, everything would be okay. I don't have to exist for my life to function. So that was fantastic about jail. The worst thing about jail, I mean, the cockroaches started off really bad, but after a few days, it's amazing how quickly you get used to cockroaches just in your bed. You're just like, oh, just kick them out the way. That was kind of bad. But not knowing when I'm going to get out, that was bad. Having my name slandered all around the world, that was bad. Not knowing how people are reacting to it. Like my first month in jail, I didn't know if people believed this garbage or not. I had no access to the internet. I didn't see anything. There was a lot about it that was hard, but I have to believe it's going to make me a better person. Why else did I go? What did I go for? To waste 3 months? To stare at a wall for 3 months? Is that why I went to jail? No, I must have gone to jail to become a better person. I must have learned something. I have to self-analyze and find the lessons and pick it out. And I think a lot of people don't do that with all the bad situations in their life. regardless of whether you went to jail or a woman left you or your business failed, whatever it is, you need to analyze the entire situation and say, okay, what can I learn? There's a big pile of shit here, but there must be a little bit of gold inside. So I've just tried to look at it as a massive learning experience, and perhaps that's a coping mechanism, but I've found a lot of lessons which I'm implementing. And there's a very strong chance they're going to put me back. Not because I'm guilty, because I haven't done anything wrong, but because I'm currently in the middle of a judicial system. I'm in the judicial system of a country. I don't truly understand the language. I don't understand the judicial system. I don't understand the charges against me. I don't understand how any of this can be legal. I don't understand where it's come from. I don't understand the evidence they believe they have. And here I am stuck in this process, and who knows how it's going to end.
How's it been? How do you think it would have been if you were flying solo? Because your brother, looking from the outside, it seems as if he's going through all this just because he's your brother. Yep. How would it have been for you flying solo with this? Yeah,
I mean, having my brother there was definitely comforting. He was glad he was there because we're a team. That's the thing about me and him. He was like, no, if you go to jail, I go to jail.
Right or bad?
Yeah, 100%. He was like, I'd be furious if you put you in jail by yourself. So that was nice to have him there. And for sure, he's been tied up in all this garbage purely because he's my brother. That's true. It's kind of good to know that even the Matrix see us as a team, not just us see each other as a team, which is kind of nice. But yeah, I'm not really too philosophical about it. It's kind of, I don't want to say, it's not very often in my life because I'm the kind of person who tries to prepare his very best, and I'm a hard worker and I'm extremely diligent, and I like to make sure that everything is organized and I need to do my best to influence the outcome in the best possible way, etc. But this is probably the first time in a long time I'm in a situation where it's pretty much it is what it is, right? It is what it is. If the legal system is fair, and if Romania does what I believe it will do, because I love this country, which is analyze the evidence and give me a fair judgment, I will walk. If this is a Matrix attack, I'm going to jail no matter what. Doesn't matter what I say, doesn't matter what evidence I show, I'm going to jail. So what can I do? It is what it is. And we have to see how God has this all laid out for me. And it is scary, for sure it's scary, but I don't think that sitting around being scared of it is going to help. I think the best thing I can do is the same things I would do if this wasn't happening, which is train hard, work hard, take care of the people who are close to me, love the people close to me, be a good person, help people, smile. What else am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to sit around and fucking mope like a fucking baby? It is what it is. And I truly hope I don't get thrown back in a jail cell. But that's all I can do is hope.
Did you ever think you could have got poisoned or killed in there?
I was worried about it a little bit. But then I thought, you know, I don't think I'm that close to the end of my chances yet. Maybe this is, again, cope. I hope not. I think they'd give me a nice lengthy, I think they'd give me a prison sentence first as a warning before they decided to kill me. If I do get a sentence, which I have to actually serve, I'll be very concerned when I come out and I'm a bigger hero than I've ever been. And that's the problem with my current situation, is that my enemy is so incompetent and they don't know what they're doing, to the point where, and I keep calling their moves because they're so obviously transparent. This is not a brand new playbook. Hit the famous guy with sexual crime, lock him up. Like this is a standard operating procedure. I keep calling out their moves so obviously and blatantly that it's just making me a hero, which is great, I guess, but I need to make sure I'm the kind of hero that can win the battle and doesn't end up in a battle where he has to sacrifice himself. I want to be a hero, not a martyr. I don't want to actually end up dead. But we'll have to see, because I'm not going to sell my soul. I'm not going to sell my sanity. I'm going to still say things I believe are true. And people are still going to listen to me. So we have to see how the world evolves. And hopefully, I can change public consciousness and affect the world to a point where truth is respected instead of demonized.
How's the women been who was in prison? Have you spoke to them? Are they okay?
Yeah, I'm not allowed to speak to them by law, but they did a fantastic job. I'm so proud of them. And it's such a shame that they're my personal assistant, Georgiana, and the other one I met at a party once. I don't even know who she is. Barely know her. Didn't even know her name. Thought her name was Ellie, and her name's something else. I saw the papers. It's like, who's this? That's Ellie. Ellie? What the? I don't even know her name. They just scooped up people close to me. Insane. And I'm sure they pressured those girls really hard to flip. And they were like, no, we're not doing it. The boys are good guys. It's kind of like a massive lesson in karma, this whole experience for me. It's a massive lesson in karma because they've called 2,000 people who know me, trying to find charges. Everyone from gardeners who used to work for me, ex-girlfriends, everybody, ex-personal assistants, everybody. And because I'm just genuinely pretty nice to people, and I'm pretty fair with people, and I'm pretty square with people overall, I had no idea this level of Matrix attack was coming. I'm never going to sit there and go, my pool guy in 3 years might be able to help me in a human trafficking case. Nobody thinks that way, right? But I just do good things for people. It's like karma. And everybody's been on my side. And I kind of feel like my karma's come back to help me by just being good to people all the time. Even the 2 girls I put in jail. I mean, one's my PA, but the other one I barely know. But I was so nice. How high that I'm a nice person. Kind of when I see those miserable people, when I see those people who are rude or ignorant or miserable or, in a bad mood, or they don't say please, don't say thank you. I always wonder, one day you're going to just bump into someone and you're not going to, and that's going to be a judge that you see 2 years later and she's going to remember your face. It's crazy how the world works. You don't know. I've just been a good person, and it's kind of like come back to help me. In which women are safe to go to the police and make genuine complaints, and that men must pay the price, but also it doesn't go too far and men can't live a life. And I feel like it's swung too far one way. And the bad thing about that is that in life, whenever you have a pendulum that swings too far one way, guess what happens? It swings too far back the other way. People are getting pissed off with this shit. Constant, never-ending lies about men being rapists. Eventually, it's going to swing back to the point where a woman who's genuinely hurt is going to go to the police and they're not going to care. And that's terrible. That's disgusting in and of itself. But then whose fault is that? That's the fault of all the women who keep lying. So we're in this situation. We're trying to find this happy medium, and it's insanity. And there's absolutely no doubt in my mind, if I wasn't world famous, I wouldn't be going through any of this garbage. But that's also the way it works, because we talk about the Matrix and how you guys at home know a couple girls with TikTok. Watch out. It's clown world.
What do you think should be in place to protect men more? Do you think we get the rough end of the stick?
Oh, we absolutely get the rough end of the stick. And there has to be some degree of burden of proof. I don't know why with these particular crimes there's no burden of proof. Surely there has to be some legal test. I don't know where a woman's statement alone just is enough. If you go into the police station and say, I know someone who stole a car. What car? I can't tell you what car. There's no car. There's no video. I can't even tell you the reg plate. Nothing. But I know he stole it. Is that person going to jail for stealing a car? They're like, okay, so you can't tell me anything about the car. There's no video of the car being stolen. No cars have been reported stolen. You're just telling me they stole a car. No, go away. It's just this one particular crime. I don't know what the exact solution to it is. I guess, I have daughters. I have many daughters, and when they grow up, the solution to it for me is going to be teaching them to keep themselves as safe as possible. I believe in personal responsibility for men and women. I don't believe that's a gendered argument. I believe women and men should both be as personally responsible as possible and not rely on government or law enforcement agencies to protect them. If something happened to my daughter, heaven forbid, and I find out, heaven forbid, bro, but I find out she was walking through a park alone at night at 4 a.m, the first thing I'll do is I literally, before I plan to kill the guy and find him, because I will kill him, I'll say, what the fuck were you doing walking through a park at 4 o'clock in the morning by yourself? I'm not going to absolve her of all responsibility. I'm not going to sit and go, we live in a society where men shouldn't rape and this is all men's fault and we need more feminism. No, I'm going to say, why did you do that? I would have picked you up. What are you doing? I believe in personal responsibility for all. And of course, there's some scenarios where that won't help. Of course there isn't. But those are the most heinous, violent, brutal crimes where a woman is being responsible and doing the right thing and protecting her safety and is still raped. Well, in those scenarios, most of the men get caught because they're doing actually terrible things. But all this subjectiveness of, I was with a guy 10 years ago, I was in love with him, we lived together, we had sex, we celebrated Christmas together, we had a puppy together, it's now been 9 years, and now he's famous, and now he's rich, and I think he once told me something that emotionally made me feel like I couldn't take money from his wallet, and I've been raped, and there has to be a level of sanity reinstalled. But that's assuming the legal and judicial system wants sanity. If you have sanity, then it's much harder to just weaponize it, right? If you have insanity, then you could just make everybody afraid of it and just weaponize it against anyone you choose. What would you do if you were in charge of the world?
How's this been on your daughters and your kids?
Yeah, that's the worst thing about this. Like, this is not a victimless crime, what's happening to me, because no crime has taken place, and then I'm being persecuted, and that's not a victimless crime. Of course, my brother and I have suffered, but so has my family. My mother suffered, my